Kuril Island dispute. Russia and Japan are still at war. At least on paper, when we think of World War II, we often imagine it ending with victory parades in 1945, peace treaties signed, and old enemies becoming trading partners in the decades that followed. But not every chapter of that global conflict has a clean ending. In fact, Russia and Japan are still, technically, at war. No peace treaty has ever been signed to officially end the conflict between them that began in the final days of World War II. Yes, you read that right, a war that started at the very end. The Soviet Union declared war on Japan on August 8, 1945, just days before Japan's official surrender. Soviet troops launched a massive offensive into Japanese-held Manchuria and also seized control of the Kuril Islands, a volcanic chain stretching from Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula to Japan's northernmost island, Hokkaido. This military campaign was short-lived, lasting only a few weeks. But the consequences of those few weeks have lasted for nearly 8 decades. The Cold War complication: Japan surrendered on August 15, 1945, but instead of peace with the Soviet Union, a new global conflict began, the Cold War. Japan became a vital ally to the United States, hosting American military bases and aligning ideologically with the West. As the Iron Curtain descended across Europe and Asia, any chance of diplomatic agreement between Tokyo and Moscow became politically unviable. The Soviet Union, wary of American influence in Japan, was in no mood to negotiate. Meanwhile, Japan, backed by its U.S. alliance, refused to accept Soviet claims over the islands it considered its own. The Kuril Islands dispute. Still the core issue at the heart of the unfinished peace lies the Kuril Islands dispute. While Russia, formerly the Soviet Union, seized the entire island chain in 1945, Japan claims the four southernmost islands, Iturup, Kunashir, Shikotan, and the Habomai Islets, were never meant to be part of Soviet territory. Japan refers to them as its northern territories. After the war, Japanese residents of the islands were expelled and Soviet citizens resettled them. The islands remain under Russian control to this day, and Moscow has militarized several of them in recent years. For Japan, returning these islands is a precondition for any formal peace treaty. For Russia, the idea of giving up territory seized during a victory in World War II, and now fortified militarily, is off the table. Post-Soviet hopes and broken talks when the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, there was renewed hope that the new Russian Federation might be more flexible. Leaders like Boris Yeltsin and Vladimir Putin have participated in several rounds of negotiations with Japanese counterparts. There have even been proposals to return 2 of the 4 islands as a compromise, but none have stuck. National pride, domestic politics, and military strategy have kept both sides from making a deal. Japan continues to demand all 4 islands back, while Russia asserts full sovereignty over them. A paper war in a tense region, while Russia and Japan haven't exchanged fire since 1945. The fact that they've never signed a peace treaty creates a strange kind of limbo diplomacy. It's not just a historical curiosity, it's a strategic problem in a region filled with tension, with China's growing power in the Pacific, North Korea's unpredictability, and the US-Japan alliance growing stronger. The unresolved Russia-Japan conflict adds another layer of instability. Russia has increased its military presence on the Kurils in recent years, conducting drills and deploying missile systems. Japan, meanwhile, continues to protest diplomatically and reaffirm its territorial claims. In the end, history's ghost still lingers. It's tempting to believe that World War II is ancient history. But for Russia and Japan, one of its final unresolved chapters remains open. They're not shooting at each other. Trade exists. Diplomats meet. But the absence of a peace treaty means that, technically, the war never truly ended. It's a ghost. from the past that still haunts present-day diplomacy, a reminder that history doesn't always resolve itself cleanly. Until they find common ground, whether over the Kuril Islands or a broader peace deal, two of the world's most influential nations will remain, at least on paper, enemies from a war that officially ended 80 years ago. Peace remains, just out of reach, trapped somewhere between old scars and new strategies. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe for more untold history.